This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Reset, Taliesin and Evitel's Wondrous Wisdom Show, this week with a special free gift, a Dream Warden's Tabard. Hope you like it, hope you haven't got one already. Have another one, please, take it, take the Dream Warden's Tabard, you deserve it, have another, well done. Do you need a Dream Warden's Tabard? Here you go. In a week where we have a new 10.2.5 PTR build with two new in-game cities, Yggdrasil and Gilneas are now occupied and functional for hanging out and fun times. Although not without their own controversies, especially Yggdrasil, it will shock you to learn. As well as loads of new transmogs, including controversial transmogs and other stuff too. And just as well, because another main story that we have today is that until 10.2.5, and let's be honest, probably for a fair bit after 10.2.5, we would appear to be looking at something we have grown pretty unaccustomed to in the year since Dragonflight released, and that is a good old-fashioned World of Warcraft content drought. I know, it's kind of surprising really with how good this expansion has been to us content-wise so far. So we're going to take a closer look at that and see how worried we should or should not be. But first, the reason I know you're all really here, the competition that has the entire esports world wrapped in awe and anticipation, the Yggdrasil Race to World First, heroic, for guilds with names a bit like Immortalis. The raid race that Echo and Liquid suck at and always lose because their names aren't even a little bit like Immortalis, but which my guild, Immortalis, sometimes does quite well in because our name is literally like exactly Immortalis. And if that's not exciting enough, what if I told you that going into this last reset, there were no less than 4 guilds with names a bit like Immortalis progressing Firak, including the brave, sweet-smelling, pure of heart, everyone's favourite Immortalis Argent Dawn EU? Yay! What if I told you that during this reset, 3 of those guilds killed Firak, which means this segment represents the conclusion of the race to world first for guilds with names a bit like Immortalis. What if I told you that, eh? Because that's exactly what happened, because we killed Firak this week. We are done, mate. That toasty dragon is toast. Unfortunately for us, we were the 3rd Immortalis guild to down him this reset, with reigning champions Norska Immortalis getting their curve 3 days before, but OC guild, bit like Immortalis, nailing the win the day before them to take the crown, bit like Immortalis are the champions of the final raid of the expansion. Massive congratulations to them and their day earlier reset. An OC guild, the champions of the world, fam. That's just one reason why the race to world first heroic for guilds with names a bit like Immortalis is the best race to world first. So see you all next raid, I guess. Next up though, we are going to have a tour around the new Yggdrasil Night Elf city of Bel'Ameth and a newly open for business Gilneas on the PTR. But even before that, let's have a roundup of random cool stuff that has found its way onto the PTR in this last week.
It probably won't surprise you to learn that there is a whole ton of new Night Elf themed transmog in the 10.2.5 files. These images were put together by our friend Ellie, keyboard turner, and show exactly the kind of purpley, silvery, pointy weapons you'd expect, but also new backpacks and bedrolls? Bedrolls! For sleeping! You know I love sleeping. And if you love all that purple, silver, spiky elf stuff, then I've got very good news. Very good news. Very good news. That's right, this is not a drill, this is a full Sylvanas transmog set to look exactly like Sylvanas, except sexy belly button Sylvanas, which is even better. And you know what? That's Metzen right there. First thing he did when he walked through the door at Blizzard HQ, after turning all the water into wine and or energy drinks, was be like, get that bitch's top cropped, and everybody clapped. We have no idea yet how players will get this set. Will it be trading post? Will there be a quest line? Will it be only for Sylvanas loyalists? Will it be for everyone or just Blood Elves? No idea, but it will hopefully open the door to other super famous NPC transmog collections too, like Varian, Jaina, Thrall, Anduin? That other guy? Yes, please. All of those, please. There's the new butterfly wings, which are marked as costing 999 traders tendies, which likely means they are a traveler's log reward and are perfect for my rogue bullet. It has recolors too, but we're not sure if they'll be made available, like, at all. You know what Blizzard like with their awesome recolors that you never get access to. More trading post stuff. How about Logosh swords like Varian used to use in his gladiator days, and kind of what Anduin uses now Charlemagne is all lightless and normal. There's also a range of floral styled weapons that, and I don't know, this is just a guess, okay, but I'm assuming we can expect these around March or April kind of time. The sunflower staff being a particular favorite, and all will go very well with the spring outfits that are in the data too. There's the bearskin tabard to make all your house and dreams come true, the physics-defying money bag offhand, loads of great stuff to be buying from the trading post then. Make sure you save those tendies because you're not getting any more. Well, from the store anyway. In yesterday's community interview, Ian revealed that
there will continue to be occasional bundles like the War Within pre-order for the expansion that have some tender. As we mentioned, when we had some smaller bundles for tender earlier this year, those were an experiment. At this time, we don't have any near-term plans to do more of those. You're not going to see tender bundles popping up on the shop this month or next or the month after. Obviously, I can't say what the future open-endedly will hold, so don't take that as a never guarantee because nothing is certain.
So there we are. No more traders tenders with like a bracelet or something. It was just an experiment. Like shitting your pants is an experiment. As always, we are linking all the relevant Wowhead articles and pages in the description below for this stuff and more. So go check it out.
Gilneas and Bel'Ameth are on the PTR. Bel'Ameth is the new Night Elf capital city, settlement, refuge. I'm going with capital, and although it sounds like a top WoW YouTuber who's really let himself go, Bel'Ameth is bustling in 10.2.5. Whole new buildings where the 10.2 encampment was, and beyond, welcoming night elves of all stripes. It's not exactly a metropolis yet. This is very much a city in the fledgling stages of its existence, but there's a recognizable layout with high-res versions of night elf buildings that we're familiar with, and some new ones besides. Inns, shops, homes, obviously, modest temples and moonwells. There's traders, profession trainers, stable masters, most of whom are characters that have survived from Teldrassil days, many of whom we know from before that or since. Bel'Ameth is not a tiny hamlet, put it that way. And of course, the Night Elves are settled across the whole of the island that Yggdrasil is situated on. So there's Armithril Lodge, where the Wardens and Sentinels have their barracks by the coast. There's the Shendralar encampment of mages, who use their once forbidden powers to maintain portals. There's the docks, of course, which look incredible and really make this place feel important. And there's a tower for the Dark Ranger, Demon Hunter, and Death Knight Night Elves to hang out in as they work through their reintegration with their people. And that is a feeling that really does shine through with Bel'Ameth, that it's open to everyone. There's loads of NPCs just wandering about, admiring the place, many of whom are named as Yggdrasil settlers. And these are night elves who presumably would have been among the refugees in Stormwind, now come to the New World Tree to make their home. Finel is here, the official last Keldori to escape from Darnassus, saved by Maya and Gen Greymane, and named by Tyrande. It doesn't get much more symbolic than Finel wandering around carefree and enjoying life. But it's not just the citizens of Bel'Ameth. There are NPCs who are marked as visitors from Hijal, Darkshore, and Feralis, along with emissaries from Val'Sharah and Stormwind. Those places are where those portals I mentioned earlier go. So look, I know it's still a bone of contention to many people that the tree isn't on Kalimdor. It's a concern I'm very sympathetic to, honestly, but these portals and visitors do serve as a reminder that actually the Night Elves haven't been ejected from their ancestral home because they still hold Hijal, where they lived for 10,000 years. Darnassus, where they lived for 10 years, was destroyed, but they still hold the zone it's in. They are still there. I mean, these visitors aren't because they're in Bel'Ameth right now, but they'll be going back there soon with some nice memories, maybe a magnet or a pin or something from the gift shop, I don't know. And in that sense, Bel'Ameth and Yggdrasil doesn't represent a relocation of the Night Elves. If anything, it's an expansion. Those that want a new home have one. For those that wish to remain in Kalimdor, there are plenty of traditional Night Elf settlements to do that. And I have to say that has gone a fair way to winning me over to Bel'Ameth, I have to admit. But also, it's not just Night Elves that are welcome in Bel'Ameth, because everyone seems to be. It's marked as a sanctuary, which often means, in other examples of it throughout the game, a neutral city like Shatrath or Dalaran. And that's not quite the case here, though. Archdruid Hamul Rune Totem is a Horde representative in the city and makes it very clear that his faction are graciously allowed to be there by Tyrande. If you are a Horde player in the city, there is an icon in your buff bar letting you know that you are being watched incredibly closely. There is no portal to Orgrimmar to go along with the Stormwind one. This is not a neutral city. They're just pretty welcoming of the Horde right now. And for obvious reasons, if you are a Horde player, which statistically most of you are, then you fought alongside the Aspects and Tyrande to save the Emerald Dream multiple times this expansion, as well as secure the future of the flights and protect Emirdrasil itself from Firak, who you also accidentally freed, but shh. Honestly, it would be kind of weird for Tyrande to not allow select Horde members in the city right now. And that was definitely the opinion on the forums, who celebrated the Night Elves' new open door policy as the ultimate triumph of a traumatized people. Those message boards sang with joy about the beautiful cross-faction inclusiveness of the city and the hope that represented. Those posts were lining up to praise Blizzard for this decision for the new capital, and then everybody held hands and clapped. No, it was a shit show, obviously. New Night Elf Capital is a Horde city? Thanks for nothing, Blizzard. What a dumb effing decision. Who wanted this? Protest, people. This neutrality crap needs to stop. It feels like Blizzard fishing refuses to let the Alliance just have cool shit of their own. 26 more days of sub left. I'm done. They pulled my nose for 6 years too long. No more. Yeah, I know I just read those comments in a kind of a silly voice because they are kind of silly examples of the argument, but I am overall sympathetic to the argument, even though I don't actually agree with it on this occasion. So I'm not going to tell anyone that they are wrong for feeling how they feel about this. I'm just telling you how I feel. And I feel the need to reiterate, this isn't a neutral city. Horde are allowed in the city to visit, just like London allows Iraqis and Germans and Italians and Americans and even sometimes French people to visit, even though we have fought some pretty bloody wars against each other, in some cases within living memory. Yeah, I know that's not a full list, but I'm from Britain, we'd be here all day. Sorry, okay? Sorry, world. In my opinion, at the end of the day, having a city that is welcoming to everyone by default shows confidence, it shows strength, it shows power, much more so than walling yourselves in, scared of the outside world. And that is what I want for the Night Elves. Not to be eaten up as a society with grudges and hate and to be lost in isolationism as a result. They've done that before. It's definitely true and real that some scars can never heal for those that lived through horrific events, and fair enough, no one is saying that those who lived through Teldrassil should forget it or get over it on an individual level, but as a society, eventually you will, whether you like it or not, because that's what happens. Fennel was there as the city burned. What future do you honestly think would be better for her? One of war and distrust and constant conflict, or one of hope and cooperation and diplomacy? One where an orc is an unseen monster to be feared and killed without remorse, or one where, I used to know orcs, we used to get some visiting my hometown every now and then, and they were generally pretty sound. What's better for her? I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just getting old, or maybe the mess of the real world is just wearing me down, especially right now. That's definitely true, actually. But like many of you, I play games for escapism, and actually a world where a new generation of people aren't taught to hate and want to kill a whole bunch of other people just because of what their parents or grandparents did seems like a pretty nice one to escape to for a bit, honestly. So yeah, in conclusion, I'm glad Bel'Ameth is a welcoming place, especially because it gets me thinking. There is a huge emphasis on homes among these new buildings. Just about everyone has a recognizable living space. My favorite is this treehouse up here overlooking the main town. Now, there's no staircase to get here. Obviously, the door is shut, so you can't look inside. But I can't shake the feeling. We, the player, are especially welcoming this city for obvious reasons. And if there were to be a part of this fledgling town which was designed specifically to work as some kind of player housing somewhere down the line? Well, look, this is where I'd put it. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying this would be the perfect place. It's not a big deal. I don't know why you even brought it up. Also, Gilneas is open on the PTR. Now, this one is nowhere near as finished, either from an in-game point of view. The whole place seems very ramshackle, with people selling clothes and goods from makeshift stalls where everything's just hung up with rope, and also from an actual building of a video game point of view. Most NPCs are named unknown, even really quite famous ones. But it is incredibly well populated, at least, and even the stoniest of hearts can't fail to be warmed by the sight of wolfie boys and girls strutting about across the cobbles in their glad rags, living their best wolfie life. The PTR was horrible and unstable when I was exploring this place, so I'm sure there's loads that I have missed, but at least we now know that retaking of Gilneas' storyline, we win. We get it back. Awesome. Now, of course, we won't get to play that story or any quests around Bel'Ameth until the patch launches, because they are rightly being kept a secret, and that's great. I don't want story spoiled, especially because story is kind of all we have for basically the next year. That's right, fam. I haven't forgotten. I promised you a content drought segment, and here it is. Amirjasil is done. The world tree is saved. Firak is on the LFR. Everyone can now complete the raid, and therefore the patch. There will not be another tier raid this expansion. Confirmed. There is an internal testing build for the next expansion, The War Within, on the servers right now as we speak, but it is officially scheduled for a fall release, which probably means November, let's be real, leaving us with a nigh-on year-long content drought. And I know what you're thinking.
Hey everyone, good to see you, and you, my friend, are looking. Now, I don't mean to go on about it, but we have finally set up an Instagram account. I love Instagram, sorry to like every other social media platform, but where else could I post a random shot from the weekly reset live and have an eagle-eyed follower peep my shoes and finally see me as the low-key fashion girl I really am? Oh, thank you. You know who else makes me feel seen? Squarespace, who are sponsoring today's video, obviously, and who know what the Instagram girlies really need to make their web presence pop. It's a pair of Sambas. But also, it's a huge selection of tools and features that makes integrating and sharing their Instagram content easy as pie. Check this out. You can actually connect your Insta account directly to Squarespace and have a live feed embedded and updated on the go. I could basically just replace our entire website with our Instagram feed. I'm not going to do that, but I am going to play around with these amazing design options because I'm all about the aesthetic. Want to update your header to include your shiny new social link? No need to manually update logos or images. Literally just input your social tag and Squarespace will automatically give you that lovely little camera button. Ah, so much better. And should you want to get a little more hands-on with Squarespace's drag and drop page editor, which I personally like for building custom bits like listing your followers, you can do that too. In fact, I'm going to take this opportunity just to update our... Oh. Well, you know what's also super easy on Squarespace? Deleting. I'm off to build my Insta empire, but you? I see you, and you would look great with your own Squarespace website. And lucky for you, if you go to squarespace.com/Taliesin Evitel or use code Taliesin Evitel, you'll even save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Now that's savvy. Get it, girl.
You're thinking, but Taliesin, what about the Fated season? And yeah, I know we've got a Fated season, but here's the thing. Shadowlands' Fated season was great. It was a really cool thing because there was going to be otherwise nothing, because Shadowlands' cadence was basically screwed by the world situation from day one, and fair enough. As an improvised, fun, unexpected thing where you do all the raids from the expansion again and you can buy gear from a vendor, it's brilliant. But I don't think I'm alone in thinking that a Fated season in Dragonflight doesn't feel as good, because you've got a Fated season in Dragonflight now. It's the new normal, and it doesn't feel like a cool extra thing anymore. It feels like you just decided we only need 3 raids and expansion because you can just do a Fated season instead. And I know that's unfair, okay? I know that's not really what's happening, but that's how it feels. I guess the best way of putting it is that a Fated season felt like more than Shadowlands deserved, so it was good, but it feels like less than Dragonflight deserves, so it's not as good. But for new content to keep us playing for the next year, we are looking at whatever new events and games and story and whatever else will come in the patches before World Within. And let's be fair, Blizzard have already proved they are full of pleasant surprises with this kind of stuff. In Dragonflight, the Secrets of Azeroth, brilliant. Time Rifts, awesome. Zascara Vaults, fine. It does bode well for, say, the Azerothian Archives in 10.25. There's holidays and I dare say new dragon racing tournaments, and that's all good too. But if we're being completely honest, most players see these things as really nice side dishes rather than a main course. A lot of this time in between expansions is now going to be carried by story updates, which most people will only play once. Dragonflight has good form here too, in fairness. The Blue Dragon questline is the obvious highlight, and if Gilneas or Bel'Ameth has anything like that, it'll be brilliant. It's also fun to think that we will narratively be having a proper lead-in to the next expansion for a change, rather than like a portal appearing in Orgrimmar on launch day and a quest being like, oh shit man, it's all kicking off, let's go! But still, a year though? Is that really going to hold? We know that Blizz do have at least one surprise up their sleeve that the devs think is a big deal and are very excited about. Personally, I would not be surprised to see Warband features launch in the game before next expansion starts, but still, a year though? Newest PTR builds suggest that there is a 10.2.6 coming hot on the heels of 10.2.5, which is a very encouraging sign that Blizzard aren't planning on leaving us in the lurch, and actually maybe even plan to be bringing updates out quicker than the brilliant cadence Dragonflight has seen so far. But still, a year though? I feel like Dragonflight has done enough to earn my trust at this point. It has basically never let me down as far as content, and often delights and surprises me with just how hard it tries to give the player new stuff. But also, I've been playing WoW for a while, so you'll forgive me if I'm a bit cynical, because like, a year though? I don't know, what do you think? Are we in for an annum of mind-numbing boredom, or are we in safe hands? Let us know in the comments below, or just tell me to relax and enjoy myself. That'll probably work too. And thank you for joining us today. If you liked this episode, don't thank us, thank our patrons who give their actual real-life money to make all of our work happen. Patrons, seriously, thank you. Because without you, there'd be a whole lot less Taliesin and Evitel. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it, and remember, my name is Bel'Ameth. No. From me, Taliesin, and Evitel too, this will be the last weekly reset until the new year, but we do have at least 2 other videos planned for 2023, as well as the podcast, the second channel, streams, and all the usual stuff, so we will see you there. Cheerio.